Hi, welcome to the Big Bear Homestead. And today, as part of our Preparedness series, to finish up the interviewing process, me and Mama Bear are going to give our reaction from all 3 interviews from the Cubs. Alright, so here we are. All 3 of the youngins, all 3 of the Cubs. Eeny, meeny, and miny have done their interview. You watched all 3, right? Mm-hmm. Are you sure?
Mm-hmm. I did. I made the time to watch all 3. Feel like I have to do homework now.
You do.
Got a test.
Who was your favorite?
That's not fair. I can't do that.
Yes, you can. Who gave the best interview?
The most informative would have obviously been Blaze, because Blaze has a better understanding of it all for his age. So, as far as informative goes.
Yeah, Blaze was very informative. He talked like this the whole time.
Yeah, so that
which really drove me crazy.
Why?
Because when we're out there doing building our skills, or when we're doing 1800 weekend, he turns into, like when we do 1800 weekend, he turns back into like an 8-year-old little boy. He's all kinds of excited, jumping through hoops, wanting to do it all, blah, blah, blah. And then you start to try to get him to talk about it on camera, and he's like, wah, wah,
I learned how to build a fire.
You know, it's like we had to do a couple of takes with him. Because the first one, he came out, and he looked like he stuck his head in the dryer. Because his hair was like, woof.
See, and I didn't see all that stuff.
That's because I was being a good daddy. And I'm like, we filmed it. Because at first we filmed it. And I'm just sitting there looking at him going, and so we filmed it. And I got it in the editing software. And I was like, I can't do this.
No, we can't do this to him.
And so I called him in and I said, dude. He's like, I don't care. I don't care what people think. It ain't about what people think. You're talking about going in the Marine Corps. Your buddies get a hold of this video, and it'll be the longest 4 years of your life. Mm-hmm. Plus, if you make it a career, and you start getting up there in rank, and some low in rank
finds that
carousel newbie jarhead finds that. Well, yeah, that's a good point. So he put on a ball cap and he came out there, and then he was just wah, 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 wah,
like Charlie Brown all over again.
The one I enjoyed, the one that got me tickled the most,
Ledessa.
Was Ledessa.
That was what I was going to say. As far as comedy goes, Ledessa was the funny one. Because everything...
Ledessa also surprised me the most.
Ledessa was always about the food. That child, you would think we don't feed her with this, like, she is so obsessed with making sure, like, preparedness to her just means she has food. Like, it doesn't mean security. It
it's
mean
food.
Power.
It's food and being able to make a fire to be able to cook that food.
Cook the food, that's it. As long as she's fed, everything's golden.
Yeah. And what was really funny, because she kept talking about food, and I'm like, well, if you could only have one food on your preparedness shelf, she knew I got her. Because she paused and she gave me that, I can't believe you're going to do this to me, daddy look, and smiled, and she's like, ramen noodles.
That child, as bad as they are for you, that child, that's all. She
goes through about a case in a week.
No. She doesn't. Oh, wow! That's where the look comes from. Do you see it? Have you ever seen Ledessa? She gives that look. She's like, that was it. I got it on film now.
She eats ramen noodles for breakfast. If
Not
you let
always.
her, if you let her, she will eat ramen noodles 3 meals a day.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But we don't let her. If you let her, she could eat a case in a week. Yes. But she doesn't eat a case in a week because there's other stuff for her to eat.
I said she could eat a case in a week.
No, you said she does.
No, I said she could. I could replay it.
I was just going to say, we're going to call like a replay. Like
a replay. Ladessa could eat a case in a week if you let her.
Never know she did it. He said, Ladessa eats a case a week. I'm telling you. Go back and watch it. Anyway, so.
The comments are now going to be full of saying, no, Robin.
Okay.
Just like when you and Hope said, we let you talk. I have all kinds of people saying, they didn't let you talk.
I'm just saying, just replay. Anyway, so the comedic one was definitely Ladessa.
Well, Ladessa also surprised me because, like I said, Blaze gets like a kid in a candy store when we do these things. But Ladessa and Carol are kind of like, they could take it or leave it. Mm-hmm. But Ladessa made it very abundantly clear that when we do those weekends and when we do those skill builders, they're very important to her.
Right. Yeah. As far as the family, because she kept going back to saying time with her family. Mm-hmm. Like that, she's in that stage right now where it's food and family. Like they're both, she can't have one without the other. She's got to have the family time and she got to have the food.
Now, I have a question. Mm-hmm. Carol. Do you know where this mysterious trash can that's in her room that has all of her walkie-talkies and stuff in that she talked about?
I missed that part. I don't remember hearing her say that.
Yeah. Because I tried to call her out a little bit. I'm like, so what's that called? And she was like,
Oh, for her Faraday cage.
Yeah.
Right. She didn't know what I remember now. Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know where that is.
I mean, that entire room is a minefield with Legos.
Legos and clothes, because they don't ever want to put clothes away.
I don't know. It surprised me that she knew what one was. That means she was paying attention. But then on the other hand, one of her favorite channels is Full Spectrum. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she loved when we watched Jericho. That was like, she loved watching all the stuff that they tried to, figure things out. And then we also watched, what was that? Was it Revolution?
Revolution, yeah.
Yeah. So.
But one of the things, each one of the children did it. They each sold themselves short. I don't know if they were trying to hide some of their skill levels that they didn't talk about, or if they were just nervous in front of the camera and didn't talk about it. Mm-hmm. Because Ladessa said that she can build a fire and rotate the food stock. Mm-hmm. She didn't say, as far as my memory, she didn't say anything about being able to purify the water. Mm-mm. She didn't say anything about her hunting or trapping skills.
Right.
She didn't say anything about her hiding skills.
So you can look at it that way, that they shortchange themselves. Or you can look at it as we've done a decent enough job of making preparing part of our lifestyle as opposed to it being something special. That they don't look at those as skills. They look at that as life. Mm-hmm. And they don't look at it as, well, I have to... like the thing with the fire is, that's a big deal because we don't cook over a fire all the time. So that's an extra skill. But, other stuff that just seems like second nature, like trapping for us is just waiting on the season. And sometimes it's not even that. Like, we may have to trap through the summer months just to get something to leave our chickens alone. Yeah. So we do that kind of stuff all the time. We do the hiding and things like that all the time. So basically, when you're asking her what skills, and all of them, what skills they have, if they really sat down and thought about it and went, wow, what all can I do that the average person doesn't? Then yeah. But when you look around our household, that's not an extra skill. That's like a way of life.
That's true, because all of them can cook. Mm-hmm. All of them can purify water. All of them know basic first aid. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things I tried to jog Ladessa's memory with, is when I asked her, have you ever used any of your skills
she said
to save somebody? Yeah. But she never went back and said, oh, yeah, first aid is a skill of mine. No, she just went, I just saved Mom's life.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. Like, they all know, first degree, second degree burn, third degree. I mean, they know all of that stuff. And your average 8, 9, 10-year-old may learn that one day in school just as a breeze over in a health ish kind of class, but they don't get it, consistently. Where our children, they're exposed to a lot of stuff that the average child is not exposed to. And the thing is that we look at that as normal way of life. And so to them, it's not really defined as a special skill. It's just how they were brought up. I mean, you hear people all the time talking about, we've got this thing called homesteading, but then you look at the older generations and they're like, that was just how you lived back then.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of the same thing to me. Like, I feel like, learning how to bait your own hook, to someone who doesn't fish very often is a skill. But to us, that's just something that you do. If you want to catch a fish, you're going to have to bait your hook, But and I'll be the first one to say, when I first, started fishing, baiting a hook was a skill. Learning to take a fish off of a hook. And when I met you, there was things that I didn't know how to do with fishing that I had to learn, but now are second nature.
Don't even bring that up.
What?
Oh.
One of your best moments, best memories was me taking a catfish off the hook.
No, that's not one of my best memories.
Of fishing?
Yeah.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite?
You really want to go there?
Sure.
When we got up in the morning and we were in that little flat bottom John boat, and you were in that honey hole of largemouth bass where they were anywhere from 2 to 10 pounds, and they were hitting your top water plug, and you were every time they'd hit it, you'd just be like, ooh, ooh. And I'm over there fishing, I'm not getting a thing, and I turn around and I just see these fish just rolling that top water plug. And I reach over you and I grab your rod and I jerk and got that like 3 or 4 pound bass.
Anyway.
But overall, I'm very proud of all 3 of them.
Yes. They definitely know more than they let on.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with what we were just talking about, is that they don't look at that as... That's just like, sitting here talking about different curriculums for the kids and stuff, and we're constantly reassessing what we need to do for homeschool. But then, when you stop and think about it, some of the stuff that our kids have learned just through practice with raising animals is more extensive than some of the biology classes that the kids learn in high school. And
that's true.
My daughter at 9 and 10, they know some stuff that the average high schooler doesn't know in biology. So that's what I'm talking about, is that when you're exposed to the lifestyle that we're exposed to, there's a lot more going on that, you and I look at as equipping them with skills, but they just look at it as normal life.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you something. Mm-hmm. After watching those interviews, are you nervous or more proud about everything that they said?
Oh. I know I gotta work with Lanessa. She's gotta know that there's more to keeping yourself prepared than just food. No, I'm proud of them. I think they did a really good job answering the questions. I do agree with you that they know a lot more than they tell people. But I guess it kind of sheds light on that maybe we need to bring up that these are skills that, yes, just because you think that they're normal, everyday things that we do, that these are things that we can use in situations.
Well, I agree with that also, because, like, with Blaze, for example, Blaze may or may not go off into the military.
Right.
He may go off to college.
Right.
So when he's off at college, he's going to have to get a job. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a lot of things that can go on that young man's resume that he'll probably never think to put on there.
Absolutely. Right. That's what I'm saying, is I think that maybe our focus, and not just in preparing, but letting them realize that these are skill sets that they're learning, not just everyday life application.
Yeah, because Blaze probably knows and has enough experience just in plumbing alone that, minus knowing the codes, he could probably go in and be a certified plumber. He would just have to learn the codes.
Well, he would definitely be a decent apprentice. He could go straight into apprenticing and do it quickly enough to be certified. Right. Yes, absolutely.
And same way with an electrician.
You know, yeah, I agree.
And those are some things that he probably thinks that, well, probably not now because he's sitting on the other side of the camera.
Right.
But some of the things that he may be thinking, you know, every freaking body knows how to change an outlet.
Right. And you know, I used to think that too. Well, no, I used to be the other way around. But once you start to get to a point where you want to own your own home, or in our case, run your own water lines for your animals and things like that, you know, there was a lot of things we didn't know very early on that we had to learn along the way. And one thing that we've been really good about doing is when we learn something new, we try to teach our children along the way with us. Now,
me, when it goes back to that question I asked you of being nervous or proud, I'm a mixture of both. I'm proud because, and relieved because I'm like, okay, they really were paying attention.
Yes, it sticks, right.
You know, but I'm also a little bit nervous now because I wonder if they look at it as an expendable asset. You know, especially Ladessa. If it comes down to that last bag of ramen noodles, she may cut us in our sleep.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a scary, think about
just saying. Good job, love some ramen.
Yeah. No, I mean, the thing is that, and I had something in my head and it just went right on out, but, I think stop. I think they did an overall really, really good job, but that we can always, I mean...
Yeah, there's always room for
it's
improvement.
oh, I know what I was going to say. That one of the things, I know one of them said something about foraging, but both girls...
Yeah, that was Carol.
I mean, there are times when we won't hear from them in the summertime.
Yeah.
We won't hear from them all day. Like, we'll stick our head out to make sure that they're still bobbing heads out in the pasture or out in the yard, and I mean they're picking pecans up off the ground and smashing them on whatever they can to open them.
They're out there grazing to the point where the cows are like, "Yo,
yeah,
our area."
I mean, they go around there. You know, I don't hear anything about mosquito bites, which we should because we're in Georgia. I mean, the state bird is a mosquito. Yeah. You know, and so but they're doing, and that's the thing. Like, we don't necessarily teach them. Like, I don't even know if they know what the word poultice means, but they know how to make one. They know how to make a poultice. They'll take the plantain leaves, chew them up, and put it on a mosquito bite and let it sit and draw this. I mean, they know how to do all that stuff. They know what they're allowed to eat and what they're not supposed to eat. And they're always when Daniel and them came, that was one of the things that they really wish we had had more time to do, is go around and go, okay, you can eat this, you can't eat that, can't eat this, because we have a field of different edibles out there, I know. But yeah, that was another one they just barely, Carol barely touched on, but that's huge. When you're in a SHTF situation and you're able to go out and not only grow your own food and harvest your own meat, but now you're able to even use what's out there that's already been provided for you, and be able to use that and not have to settle. See, that's the thing, is anybody could sit down and eat grass. I mean, at the end of the day, get over it. But, we know how to prepare lamb's quarters. We know how to use sorrel in salads. We know how to use dandelions. I mean, Carol likes to take dandelions whenever they start popping up and use them as straws. She cuts the top off and sticks it down in her drink, and I'm walking around looking, and she's got a dandelion stem sticking out of her glass. You know what I mean?
She loves
and that's normal. That's not like, let's have a preparedness weekend. That's everyday life. And that's what I was saying is I don't think that it occurs to them that this is a special skill set. I think this is just how we do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
I hope you guys enjoyed that little series within the series as much as we did. I hope you guys learned as much as Mom and I learned from our kids as we did.
Away from the ramen. Or buy more. We got to make sure we buy more.
You see, if Ladessa ever turns into a zombie, just throw ramen noodles at her.
There you go.
But, well, that ends it for this little quick side note series that we did during our preparedness series. Come back next week when we're going to talk about barter items.
Ooh, things to have for barter items, things to focus on.
Yep.
Yeah, because I know there's a lot of things that people don't think about.
Okay, shh. Save it for the video. Save it for the video. You're going to give them the whole video right here. Yes, you would. You
I was
would
just going to say, you got to
Well, before she spills it all, thanks for coming by. Thanks for coming by the Big Bear Homestead. And like always,
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.